Hi everyone, welcome back again to Spiritual Growth Tarot, although this is our astrology reading for the week, and I'll be going from Sunday, April 3rd through Saturday, April 9th. So meanwhile, sending you lots of love, big hugs as always, and let me drop the camera down and show you these charts for the week. Hold on. Okay, so starting out the week, I ran this chart for 10, you can see it's 10:46 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. So adjust according to your time zone. And the reason I ran it at that time rather than way early in the morning like I usually do is because I wanted to get this exact conjunction here between the moon and Uranus. So remember that, of course, Uranus is enlightenment, awakening, all things that have to do with becoming more aware. And sometimes it's that gentle, well, it starts out kind of gentle, and then if you ignore it, it can become more intense as time goes by. Like I've lived through Uranus over my moon. Well, actually, I started out with Uranus here, so I had a lot. I've had a lot of experience with Uranus, and I have Mercury conjunct Uranus, so I can talk about it. But when it goes over your moon or your ascendant, you're just energized, and you have to move. You have to get things going in your life in a certain direction that is very different than it was before. So if you have any, well, actually, if you have 13 degrees Uranus at any of the angles, the hot points in your chart, that's going to wake things up. If you have any other planets at 13 degrees Taurus and Uranus is conjunct, or let's say you have something at 16 or even 18, Uranus is moving towards whatever that conjunction is, or squares, right? So any connection to Uranus in your natal chart will help you wake up to, it's going to be really intense if it's like on your sun or your moon, or on any of your personal planets, and it'll bring in the flavor of that personal planet. But let's say it's moon conjunct Uranus, right? Let's say that's what's happening for the day for you. It can help wake up feelings inside that you didn't know you had, that want to, take you in a new direction. But it can be upsetting because the moon likes things to be stable and protected and nurturing and warm and fuzzy and within a certain routine. When Uranus is involved, it's like, that ain't be happening here, right? And so the good thing, though, is it can free you up from something because it's the planet of liberation, but it can definitely disrupt something. It can take you off of a certain trajectory that you've been on in the past. It can be kind of shocking. It can help you detach if you need to. Like if there's a breakup or, a separation from a relationship. Now, notice there's no aspects to this today, so I can't say that it's going to bing off of any other planet and bring in anything else. It is entirely about just the moon finally caught up, to Uranus and Taurus. So again, like I've said before, Uranus is also the planet of inventions, and I'm still hoping that there are even more inventions to bring in safety from COVID. The reason we had the vaccine so early is because it's just a tweak on the SARS vaccine that was already in place from I think it was 2005 when that was invented or found, discovered, and put into place. So there was plenty of work done beforehand, And with Uranus and Taurus, it can be much more grounded and stable, and because Taurus rules the body. We can't ever forget about that. Taurus rules, Aries is like, I'm here, and Taurus is like, oh, I have a body. And with that body, we need safety. So we've had the upsets within our safety paradigms, of course, because of COVID, and now we're witnessing those of us who are very sensitive. We're holding space for a war in Ukraine that is just completely unnecessary. But this does upset the way we want life to be, because Taurus is about wanting pleasure and people being faithful to each other. They don't like being pushed or rushed. Don't ever tailgate a Taurus; they'll just slow down. I have a dear friend who's a Taurus who used to do that. It's like, oh yeah, you want to play that way? Okay, I'll just slow down even more. Get the guy to go around you. But she wasn't in the fast lane, so hey, you know what I mean? And I just crack up next to her. But so that's just to keep in mind that there could be some upsets that have been building. We're coming off of the new moon in Aries, and that gets us going. It gets us, put in a certain direction, usually that's very instinctual. I absolutely love instinctual type of energy where you don't even have to think about it, you just go. As long as you're aligned with all things safe and all things loving, and staying connected to your heart, staying connected to your guides, you'll go in the right direction. I'm not going to worry about you guys at all. But for the rest of the world, we might be witnessing this challenge here, because now this stellium here is good for all things healing with the Sun conjunct Chiron. Chiron's moving to cross over the Sun. It'll be exacting later on in this week. And meanwhile, Mercury's kind of moving away. But for this day, we have this stellium here. But we have an exact, I couldn't include Mercury in this semi-square here because it's a tight, when you're talking about a semi-square and some of the other aspects, they're just like a 1 to 3 degree orb at the most, and so I couldn't allow Mercury in there. So Chiron over the Sun will help us wake up even more, reveal even more about what people need for survival, what people need to feel seen, and now it could bring in some like trailblazing type of energy for helping people understand how much they matter. It's assertive energy with the Sun in Aries, definitely, and then with Mercury, we're talking about it, right? But this aspect here to Venus, now Venus is very humanitarian in the sign of, Venus in Aquarius wants all of humanity to have their needs met. It's painful for them to see people suffering. It's painful for them to see people apathetic, to witness, people not caring. And so with this aspect here, there will need to be some decision made in order, some action will need to be taken. A decision and some action will need to be taken to release this tension field here. Now, it's not as strong not as much, it's not as challenging as a square because it's a semi-square, but it's still, it's that place where you can't really ignore it. I mean, you can try, but it's just going to keep bothering and creating some type of a friction that needs to be, that needs like action in order to be feeling better about it. So I'm hoping that this is even more actions to help the refugees. I see this Saturn squaring the nodes here that I've been talking about intensely, the last the last several weeks right here, okay? And we have Mars involved with it right now too. This right here, all of this. So we have to talk about Mars and Saturn. Now, but this is the refugee crisis, and it's also a test for humanity to wake up and think about the fact that we're all together, we're all connected, we're all one in the in the core of who we are. We're all a piece of God. We're all a piece of divine consciousness. We're all a piece of cosmic intelligence, whatever you want to call it, whatever you name it. It's as long as it's coming from the forces of love. I'm going to say it's the highest level, and you can call it anything you want, but with this square to the nodes here, we're all waking up to that. And we're seeing, now, of course, we have an opposition between the North and South node. It's always an opposition, and it's about balancing out the polarity. God, I can't believe I drew a straight line there. That's amazing. But anyway, balancing out the polarity. And we're seeing, sex scandals. We're seeing things like, everything's coming out to, it might be kind of shocking, but it's coming out, everything about Clarence Thomas is one thing there. We're talking Matt Gaetz, we're talking, Jim Jordan, we're talking all of these people who were involved as well with the January 6th insurrection. All of that information is coming out, and now there's going to be some movement in order to, I think there will be movement in order to get things going. I mean, we saw the Democrats, or several of them from the January 6th committee say, hey, come on, Merrick Garland, DOJ, we need some more help. We need things moving. And I'm pretty sure he heard them, and things are going. But that's what this is about. It's like we're trying to move in a certain direction. Aries wants to go. It wants to initiate something. It wants to win something that they've been working very hard on. And you have to remember the polar opposite of Aries, of course, is Libra. And we're talking balance and fairness and justice and equality, right? And we all want safety. That's what Uranus and Taurus, that's what the North Node is in Taurus. And remember, the nodes go backwards, so this will keep moving this way. Uranus will catch up with the North Node, and I think we have Mars coming in. I think I showed you that chart last week, and we'll see that buildup happening, between now and July 31st. So anyway, this initiation here, this here's the January 6th committee saying, hey, we've been working. It's time to get things going. Otherwise, we're going to start feeling wounded, and we won't like that. We don't like that. Because, the deal with Chiron is no matter what sign it's in and no matter what house placement and whatever aspects to, the deal is it's about our deepest wounding, but underneath that, once you work through the wounding, it's your deepest gift. So the wounded side of Aries doesn't like being left out. It doesn't like really, not being first. It kind of wants to be first and blaze that trail. And it's most of all about individual survival. Again, I'm here. It's like a flower. It says, I'm here. It's just there, and you don't question it, and it has a right to exist. Aries consciousness and energy is all about existing for your own individual, beautiful self. It's brave. It's direct. It's It's very independent. It can be, the downside of Aries is it can be impulsive, but I don't think that's in any way, shape, or form what the January 6th committee is all about. It's about fearlessly asserting itself to protect the future, not only of our Constitution and our republic, our government, but also the lives of those people that are, that are working for us within that institution on a daily basis, doing things that we don't even know that could be. Think of like a mom or a dad who does all these things for the family, but they don't say, they're not saying, hey, you want to know what I did for you today? They don't do that. That's the thing with the Democrats. They just work usually. And now, of course, there's a couple stodgy ones that work just to make money, like Joe Manchin and Kirsten Sinema, or Kristen, whatever her name is. I don't know. But for the rest of us, especially anyone born in the generation of, in the 70s, early 70s and through, there can be some revelation that comes through. There can be something that you didn't know about yourself that helps you discover who you truly are. And that's good. That's really good, because remember, it's not about becoming something that you're not. It's about remembering who you truly are. We come in every lifetime forgetting. It's just a piece of who we are that we incarnate, and we have to tease out all the wounding. That happens in childhood, right? And we have to grow up and as adults become aware and discover who we truly are. And Chiron is all about that. It's that nagging kind of, inner conflict that'll keep you digging in to find out, digging in deep to find out who you truly are. And so on this day, at least on, Sunday here, opening up the week, this takes a lot of self-love. It takes, in Aquarius, Venus in Aquarius, brings in this need to maybe take some action in reinventing yourself by remembering, just set the intention every day to remember who you are in divine essence. Just keep asking that, who am I truly, and keep working with it. And it can be something about initiating something for a new friendship, because Aquarius is all about new friends and being friends with like all different types of people, because it's very, unique and altruistic, and it can help move forward, and so you have new friends, like in your new tribe, maybe. All right. Now, sometimes, though, it can cut off from the heart. It can be a little bit detached. Hold on. There's that possibility. So if you're feeling that, if you're feeling kind of shut down and like where you're detaching from your love, just open up to love. Just choose to just make that choice. Just say, oh, I want to feel my love. I want to feel love. I want to feel more love. Or if you're not feeling any love, or you're feeling even numbed out, because sometimes Aquarius energy, and Pisces too, can sometimes be a little numbing. If you're feeling numb, that's actually not a bad thing, because if you're feeling numb, you're aware of the fact, there's awareness of the numbness. And that's the first step to healing it, to becoming much more sensitive and open. So that's a good thing to know. So now let's talk about Mars here. Mars is now within this square, and we're trying to balance out this, this polarity here of course, with Taurus at the North Node, we're moving in the direction of safety and bliss and happiness and security, right? Bringing in more abundance. And we're digging our heels in and saying, we're not going to, give it up to the man and just let things be. We're moving forward. I read an article the other day. It was yesterday, the day before. And I can't remember the numbers, but it was shocking. It might have been like 4.4 million. I think it was. Correct me if I'm wrong, and you guys saw the article, but it was, I thought it was 4 million Americans who quit their jobs and said, suck it, man. I'm going to go find a higher paying job with benefits and some other perks, but I'm not doing this, crap anymore. And they went their merry way. And it's a job seekers market right now, so I'm sure they're going to be fine. And maybe a lot of them will become self-employed. So, but anyway, that's this, polarity here. And it also has to do with transformation and forgiveness, the need to just let go and surrender. And that's especially true because we can't forget we have this going on, right? I have to be careful of the blue, it tends to bleed. This right here, this is so fantastic. This aspect of the architect to the north and south node, right? We have a trine and a sextile, and this is that, go with spirit, go with your spiritual team, go with the love, go with compassion, go with creating anything new that you want to that you want to create. Just go for what you want. There can be some awareness and awakening about that today, especially. And maybe you've received some guidance with the new moon, and now you know which direction you want to go. And with Jupiter and Neptune together, it's important to allow your dreams to bubble up and into your awareness, and to literally be with what it is that you want to create. But also think of just pulling out all stops when it comes to creativity, because Neptune especially rules that higher level of creativity. And with Jupiter there, all of this whole, it's a double whammy on Pisces because both planets rule Pisces. We've got the old ruler and the modern ruler, or the old ruler in Neptune and the modern ruler in Jupiter. And it's trine the south node. So this is like everyone who's been on the spiritual path of transformation is now in this position to receive a payoff. Because this is an opportunity here, and this is a graceful, easy flow of the energy. So take advantage of it now. Don't hold off. Move forward. You can still be cautious with your money if you need to be, and that would be especially true with this this aspect here that's going on for a long time, with Pluto trining the North Node in Taurus. But as long as it's, you go with the testing of Saturn, like, is it feasible? Can I really do it? I have ideas, I have desires, I have creativity coming up, but can I really do it? And how can I do it, basically? So see what you can do. That's the square here, too, with the North Node on the personal level. North and South Node, it's like the South Node always brings in, it's like the insertion point from the past, and it brings in all the wisdom of the past, and then the North Node is manifesting it. And in Taurus, it's abundance. It's all things ruled by Venus, right? So there could even be some people who invent some new way. I would love it if some of these billionaires would invent some new way to support the humanitarian crisis, the refugee crisis. And, because we have so many displaced souls, and they're not going to be able to, they need help right away, right? Yes, Biden has, there's close to 14 billion earmarked for them, and it's coming through in most of all ways to support defending themselves. But this humanitarian crisis, these people that are displaced, they need homes, they need work, they need food, they need shelter, they need everything right away. And the ones who have been able to leave, of course, are the grandmothers, mothers, and daughters, and sisters, and aunts. And, unless you were a very older man that could make it, you're still there in Ukraine fighting, right? So that's what I see this about here, is this Mars involved with Saturn. This is our test. And Mars can move that stodgy old rigid energy. And if there's any apathetic contraction with Saturn in Uranus, Mars can, it might increase it for some people, and then they will get to feel how awful that feels to have a cold heart that doesn't function well. And on another level, it could be exactly the energy that needs to move forward to break this open. And Mars is going to keep trucking along, and catch up to Venus even, and Saturn will be there all by itself again going, okay, you guys, the higher octave here would be to manifest something to help these people, and manifest something to help you in your life so that you don't move through your days feeling like, oh, I have to numb out in order to do my job because I hate it, right? Don't let yourself do that anymore. Take the polar opposite of Aquarius and dive into Leo energy and consciousness that is very open-hearted, giving, and generous. Use your divine will to move out of any type of restriction, right? It's like, do what you love and the money will follow. It's a book I read way back in the early 90s. Can't remember if it was Sanaya Roman or, oh my goodness, can't remember the other one. Anyway, Google it. You can find the book. I can trust, I can tell you that you can trust me. It's true because I've been doing it myself. The only thing I would recommend that I should have done sooner is if you're younger and you're self-employed, make sure that you set yourself as an employee and take out, what is needed for your Social Security, because if you don't, then later on, your Social Security isn't very much because you were just self-employed. But so that's one little thing in there. Then again, we have these. Again, I'll just say it. I'll say it out loud. Assholes in it's Rick Scott in Florida that has this new 11-point plan to. This is the BS part of it, where he has this 11-point plan to, to help with so-called, his form, whatever he thinks is abundant, but it's not. And it cuts off Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, some other things. You'd have to Google it. It was appalling when I saw it. Oh wait, actually, you know what? Hold on. I have my phone here. Hold on. Unplug it. I know where I saw it. I saw it in Heather Cox Richardson's. Oh yeah. So there's some crap that happened. Mick Mulvaney is now working for CBS. Okay, I don't know what that's about. Let's see, let me find. Come on. Pretty sure this is where I read it. Yeah, here it is. I hope this comes through without too much of a glare. So basically, Rick Scott, who chairs the committee, responsible for electing Republican senators, has produced an 11-point plan to rescue America. Okay, dude. Anyway, it dramatically raises taxes on people who earn less than $100,000 a year. Can you imagine? Less than that. Oh, that's ridiculous. And ends Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, and the Affordable Care Act. Okay. So that could be a problem, right? Can you imagine living like that? Can you imagine people being cut off from their Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security? It's like, might as well just go kill all the older people. Let's just take them out all at once and end their suffering. I mean, what the? That's insane. So we need to make sure we're voting. We need to make sure we're out there just voting, and voting. So, okay. And maybe it's possible that this is part of like his new idea to get what he wants, because sometimes Aries energy and consciousness can be very, very, very selfish. And it is possible that that Saturn square to the nodes is another rendition of this whole thing here is another rendition coming from, because Saturn would be the ruler of our government, and in Aquarius the downside would be just completely cut off from the heart. It's all about money to this guy. I don't know how well he'll do it. Hopefully he takes himself out with it. Like give these guys enough rope and they usually hang themselves. So what's different here in Monday's chart? And I went to 6 a.m. Oh, I went to 6 a.m. instead of 4 because that's when the moon is exactly conjunct the North Node. So at this point, everything's the same. I'm just going to focus on the moon because everything else I said would apply for all week. And the moon crossing over the moon conjunct and ready to cross over the other side of the North Node, that brings in a much more, there's an emotional awareness of sensitivity here to this square to the node. So basically we want to focus here and it's going to have to include Saturn and Mars. Come down this way. Like this, and like that. Okay, so, right, any time there's a square to the nodes, you focus on the apex, right? This is a T-square going on here, and I've said it in the weeks prior to, but it bears repeating every week or until this, transit's over. Anytime there's a planet squaring the nodes, you go to the planet, focus in on that planet. In this case, it is the government, it's structure. With Saturn, it's trying to master something. It rules Capricorn, and it used to rule Aquarius until we discovered Uranus, but primarily, when I think of Saturn, just think of like trying to control something, right? Trying to put limitations on, trying to delay things. So this is the government, with its trying to limit things the way they want it, or this would be the Republicans. Meanwhile, we have Biden, who fights he's literally the underdog. Like, first of all, yeah, he might have his faults, right? But first of all, we have to think of who could have been better, either him or maybe Hillary, that would have, there couldn't be any better people, I don't think, to work with foreign relations. And, who knew we were going to be witnessing a war in Ukraine, right? So there's nobody better to handle Putin than him, because he's had all that experience with him working for Barack Obama as the vice president. And Hillary had Putin down, his number down, like right from the get-go. But of course, no one wanted to listen to her because she's a woman and she's not perfect either, right? But we had James Comey releasing those emails. Ugh. Okay, so I have to let that go. But I'm hoping that Mars will help move some energy. And with Saturn up here at this apex, with the government, the negative part of the government trying to control people in a certain way, is teaching us, because Saturn is also a teacher. And it's teaching us where we are burdened by the negative part of the government and where we're learning through trial and error what's happened in the past because of the corruption. Because remember, Pluto's in Capricorn still, and will be for quite some time, still trining, the North Node and showing us. And Pluto and Moon are definitely connected, right? It can be Pluto or the Moon can be unconscious energy. It can be, our fears that are hidden. The Moon, with the North Node, and especially the Moon in Taurus, the Moon kind of needs to attach to something in order to feel safe. And then it's that quality of trying to assimilate, trying to digest what's going on, and the atrocities that we're seeing in the government, that we've, all those years with Trump and the trauma there that we've gone through, and now this war in Ukraine and what we witnessed January 6th, and it's still over a year after that, and we're still working it through, and they're still trying to get everything out. I'm hoping that this Mars conjunct Saturn will be that breakthrough point that breaks something open, and I'm hoping that Uranus, by the time Uranus gets to the North Node, that there is some breakthrough there, because something needs to happen in order to save our government, save our republic. And, in our USA chart, our South Node is in the Declaration of Independence chart. It is in Aquarius. The South Node is Aquarius, but I think it's 6 degrees. So, anyway, like I keep saying every week, to heal this challenge here, to heal this T-square, you go to the left of the planets that are involved up at the apex, and that is the resolution node, and that is the South Node. So we are not going to feel good about moving forward and just skating over anything. We want justification. Well, we want justice. We want judgments coming down. We want things to move forward in a way that protects us. And that's, this perfect lineup here. We're not going to move forward in the way we want until that's done. And so if the government doesn't do the right thing, and if the DOJ doesn't do the right thing, there's going to be hell to pay. I think there's going to be so much rebellion and work to get things going in a certain direction. What I'm really worried about actually is election interference with voting machines, and of course the suppression. I mean, that has to stop. So, but the Moon in Taurus, especially hitting the North Node, should bring, if we could even let go of this whole dynamic, which I can't, but it should bring a lot of people in alignment to the place where they're feeling and thinking about, what do I really want? What is the steadfast, faithful principle of life that I can glom onto, I should say, and be in and move forward with? What makes me feel the safest, right? And that's going to be different for each one of you. It's like, what do you really value? What matters the most, right? And so, you have to, it's to each his own, you have to go with it. Now, Tuesday comes along, of course, and I ran the chart at 8:18, or I discovered that it was 8:18 a.m. Pacific time, that the sun here has this exact semi-square to Venus, and also that Venus has moved into, notice now, Venus is out of Aquarius and it's into Pisces. And Venus and Pisces are really good together. They love being together. Venus loves the sign of Pisces because Venus rules art and all things of, the unitive consciousness, unitive nature of life, and, harmony. And with Pisces, it includes everything. It brings in that ability to just be really comfortable be really comfortable putting yourself out there as a mystic, as an artist, as a spiritual person. It's actually really nice for that. Now, and then with the sun the sun in Aries, it's not new at all, it's halfway through, of course, but with the semi-square here, there's going to be some need to take some action in your own unique way, in your own individual way, because Aries is all about, being very independent and assertive. So this is going to help even more people get on the spiritual path, I think. Now, it could play out a different way where we see more drug addiction, because we do have to, be careful about this whole, Jupiter conjunct Neptune, trining the south node and sextiling the north node. This, for people who need to cross over, this is a beautiful juncture, a beautiful gateway, a beautiful opening to spirit. But those people who are addicted may, because even though the blue lines are supposed to be, harmonious, they're not always. Sometimes they're just, it's just a contact point. And we can see that by nature of the fact that we are witnessing a war. We have a war in Ukraine. We're worried about some little guy with nuclear weapons, and we're worried about, it's already happening. Chemical weapons are already happening. That brings in the Jupiter, Neptune, because we're talking, Neptune rules gas. Jupiter can blow things up, expand things. Pisces can be about toxins. So we do, we may be witnessing things like that help people go home to their spirit home. But this is proof that the blue lines are not always there. They can still be with that contact point. They can still be something that we don't want to witness. But as far as today goes, with the moon, we don't have any, at least in the morning, we don't have any, aspects here to it. And it's in Gemini, so now there's more curiosity. Now there's more active mental energy. Yeah, there's more adaptable energy. With the moon in Taurus, we could have been a little stubborn. But then with Uranus there, it kind of, shook everything up. But of course, we're dealing with a fixed polarity here with the north and south node. Taurus is fixed earth, and of course, Scorpio is fixed water. But the moon in Gemini just shakes everything up in a way that can be really fun. It's all about communication. It's all about gathering more information. and it connects to something. But I don't have any aspects here to talk about it yet. So let's move into Wednesday. So just expect Tuesday to be a day of needing to take some action in order to move ahead on your spiritual path. So if you haven't started meditating yet, at least do that. And, get out in nature, because of course we're in springtime, and no matter where you are, usually you can do that. Unless you're having some crazy hot weather, or, I don't know though, I used to walk with a UV umbrella when I lived in Southern California. You get kind of a workout. You have to switch arms holding the thing up, You get an upper body workout too. But anyway, so Wednesday, the moon's still in Gemini, and now we do have some aspects here, right? So everything else I told you is still the same. Nothing's changed, except the moon has moved all the way here, and we can see the trine up here to Saturn and Mars, to these two planets here. And there's also the sextile. See how we have 15 degrees? We have an exact sextile to the sun. Sun sextile the moon. It should be really nice. And all the other aspects are the same. So with the sun trine Saturn and Mars, this would be, we have some new ideas. The curiosity has sparked us enough to where we have the new connections, the new networks, maybe some networking with different people, and now there's some structure that can be put behind it, and there's a whole lot of energy. There's that connection to energy by 4 a.m. the next morning Pacific time. And then with the sextile here to the sun, well, the sun will probably just help reveal something. It illuminates as well as the moon. They're both illuminating. But the sun can kind of bring in that spotlight and help us focus in on an opportunity. So with Aries, of course, it's about something new, usually, or just bringing in some awareness that's new, like a new awareness. So it brings something out, usually, with this connection here, and then you talk about it. It's like, oh, hey, I didn't see that before, or hey, did you see that? So this could be something that comes out in the news, because Mercury is, it's not a tight orb here, but it is involved. So it could be something new that comes out in the news, of course. But for us, personally, it's just a really good day for connecting and networking, things like that. Questioning. It's also the type of energy of, learning. It can be sometimes not being heard or understood, right? If there's any challenge, but we don't have any, well, we do have the square. Oh yeah, I didn't notice that. Look at that. Almost missed it. Well, it's kind of out of orb. It's moving. Well, it will be soon. It'll, but it is kind of a square here. So this could be a square to your spiritual path. So it could be this false belief that comes up. You might discover a false belief that comes up around, oh, I can't do that. You might be thinking, oh, I get all this great guidance, but can I really do it? And then you're talking to someone else who says, oh, I don't know if that's feasible. And then you go into self-doubt. So be careful of that. Stick with what it is that you really want, because you're bringing in your wealth of wisdom from a past lifetime, if not just the last one, maybe many others. And you need to move forward on your path with that wisdom. So keep going back inside, right? Remember, just always ask to be connected with who you truly are, to remember who you truly are. It's not about being something, becoming something. It's already there inside of you. It's already there. Okay, so Thursday, we have a couple of inconjuncts here. So here's the moon with an inconjunct to Pluto. And here's Mercury with an inconjunct to the south node. Now, inconjuncts, they're uncomfortable. you're dealing with signs that don't really understand each other. Like, Capricorn just kind of wants to get things done. They don't want to just talk about it. They want to get things done. They might not want to play games, right? The Moon in Gemini might be, hey, let's play this game, and Capricorn's like, I gotta get this stuff done, man. Leave me alone. So it requires an adjustment. So with the Moon, of course, the Moon is about our moods, and the things that we're trying to protect, right? So we might be wanting to protect our mood that wants to be curious and do something different. And then here we have Pluto, which is power. I mean, this could literally be like a day where you don't really want to work, but you have to adjust yourself and make yourself go to work. It might be a day where you don't want much discipline, but you're having to adjust because it's going to require an adjustment from one end or the other. One's going to give, right? I would think it's Capricorn that will end up getting its way because we're dealing with the power of Pluto here. Now, sometimes Pluto is about the unconscious, like, underworld of our emotional past with the Moon, because, like I said before, the Moon and Pluto, to me, are a lot alike. We're both dealing with, like, ego issues sometimes. So, whatever it is for you, again, just keep opening up to your love, open up to your self-love, open up to that curious place inside of you that wants to know who you truly are, and use this beautiful trine that we have here to the Moon that can help make things a little bit easier, because here's a beautiful, graceful, easy flow here with these three planets. You have this stellium, even though Venus is not in the same sign. There's still a conjunction here, because remember, a conjunction is 0 to 12 degrees. And so we blend all these energies, and Venus and Mars together is, going somewhere that you want to go. And Saturn is in Aquarius, is there like, okay, let's pull out all the stops. Let's invent something new, right? And now there's that curiosity. So if it's a day that you have to work for someone else and you don't really want to, maybe this is the best day to get up really early in the morning and get some time into yourself before you go to work, and then to devote to have some time to yourself on your lunch hour, and then after work to work on whatever new thing it is that you're trying to bring in. And then with the adjustment between Mercury, because of the inconjunct here, this 150 degrees, between Mercury and the South Node, again, Mercury is curious. It's the messenger, and in Aries, it's something new. So, I mean, this is actually really cool, because Mercury can negotiate, it can articulate something new, it can create a link. It's good at assessing patterns, and the adjustment is coming from the wisdom of the past. So the guidance here to me has to do with go to the past to try and problem solve and figure out what worked and what didn't, and then think about how you can reinvent something new that's still from the past. You can reinvent really beautiful divine qualities of yourself from the past and do something new, because you have it inside of you. We all have it inside of us to reinvent ourselves. So again, thinking about something new, moving forward in a new way, but it can involve something from the past. Now, on another level, it could be to let go of the past if it's trying to hold you back, and you're thinking of, I want to do this, I want to go this direction, I want to, because, we have that sextile here to this stellium, right? See that? See this connection? Sextiles are always opportunities. So this could be to talk to someone. Maybe you have a friend that's an Aries, or someone that has a strong Mars in their chart, and they can help you see, because this is very friendly, inventive energy here. And so this can be a beautiful day for communication. And the only little tricky thing with that there, well, except for, the square to the nodes that's still going on, but that's just kind of in the background, and I think that has to do with the refugee crisis. But we do have this little semi-square here to the moon, from Uranus to the moon. And again, it's going to require some action. So, but the two together, there can be this combination of new ideas that can bring in more pleasure. I like that. Yeah, and then everything else is the same. We still have that aspect of the architect going on for quite some time. So that opportunity to create whatever it is that you're trying to bring in. Boy, we can't get much better transits, planetary, the transpersonal planets holding space for us. It just doesn't get any better than it is right now. Well, maybe, but I haven't seen it this good for a long time. Okay, so now with Friday, we have the moon in Cancer. So we're done with Gemini. We're well into Cancer and almost a third of the way in. And so it's more about feeling into all those great ideas and then moving. If it feels good, if it feels like the right way to go, you might be feeling kind of shy because we do have, this sesquisquare here to the past. There could be some shyness. This might be a day of you gathered a lot of information from the past and people and friends, and now it's about how do I put it into form, and this might be the day where you're kind of quiet about it. And because this challenging aspect here, you're going to need to nurture yourself through it. If it's one of those days where you don't feel like actually doing something, just be careful about being stubborn about it, because of this little, with the North Node in Taurus, sometimes it can be kind of stubborn, and it could be like coming from fear. If you're afraid to put yourself out there, this would be the day to try and understand why. And so coming from the past, so dig into the past, get into an exploration into your past, your history, and try and figure out why you might be afraid to put yourself out there in whatever it is. Whether it's asking for a raise, whether it's looking for a new job, whether it's talking to someone that you need to talk to about something that's been bothering you, or maybe it's having the courage to speak up. Because look at this now, we have Mercury is now in orb with this, so Mercury here is now in orb with this square to Pluto, right? So now we're going to be talking and communicating in new ways that people in power might be a little resistant to, or this could be a dynamic within each of us where it's our self-talk and we're learning to let go of any old self-talk that might hold us back. But in the best sense of the word, just remember Pluto does bring to light. It can bury sometimes, and then other times it brings things up and into the consciousness. Well, being it's at a late degree of Capricorn, I would say everything's up, and but there can be some communications. Again, this could be some corrupt politicians and something comes out in the news, because remember, Mercury is the messenger. So there could be something very well that comes out about that. But for us personally, this can be a place where we're eliminating something that had held us back in the past. And that's the tension field here. Now remember, squares are challenging, but when they're worked through, they bring in strength. And oppositions are challenging as well, but when they're worked through, they create breakthroughs. They go in one direction or the other and back and forth because there's that balancing out. And then with the moon here, I mean, we have two sesquisquares here. The moon's at the apex to this whole, I'm going to just about include the whole thing, but definitely Mars and Saturn. So again, I feel like it's about self-doubt and shyness and the need to feel safe, because Cancer, most of all, wants to feel safe and supported. And it can be very, very, very healing and very compassionate and very loving, but it can also be insecure when it comes to putting those feelings out there. So again, like I said, go to the past and figure out what's holding you back, and then go ahead and allow yourself to just be within that tension field, feel the fear, and do it anyway. Because remember, fear is just go with that acronym of, fear is false evidence appearing real. So don't buy into it. I can't tell you how many times I've been, I can literally feel myself shaking, but I'm doing it anyway. And then after a while, it just kind of goes away. You just keep grounding and keep breathing and keep relaxing as you go through it. But you do it anyway, I mean, unless it's something stupid. I'm not saying to go jump out of a plane or anything lame like that. I'm talking about things that make you emotionally uncomfortable and feeling vulnerable. Allow yourself to feel it and do it anyway. And with this square here, this can be challenging at first, but then it can be very healing with this square here to Chiron. And it's still kind of, within orb with the sun. So remember, Aries and Cancer energy are cardinal. They're movement oriented. And Aries energy can be like 2 steps forward and then 1 step back, because it's a little like, oh no, I put myself out there too much, and now I'm like, oh no, you're feeling a little vulnerable. And Cancer's the same way. You put yourself out there and then you're kind of like sidestepping back and forth. Oh no, shoot, wait. Is this really what I want to do? So just allow yourself to explore. And again, tap into your reserves from the past where you did really, really, really well and you have strength, but also question maybe your fear of failure, or maybe you're just in some pride, like you're afraid you're going to do it wrong. Allow yourself to remember we never ever have to be perfect. Life is all a big old experiment. Just allow yourself to go ahead and be with it, because we do have the action that needs to happen coming through here. We do have the sextile to Uranus here that is really beautiful. We have a lot of supportive energy, and then we still have the sextile up here. We have so many sextiles. Look at this, opportunities here to move forward in life on your spiritual path. We have opportunities here to talk to people and shine your light with them, and to be a part of group consciousness, to have your kindred spirits. And then, of course, we have Venus sextiling the moon. So you will find your supportive people who are unconditionally loving and just love you just the way you are. And then that's where to go. Go where the love is. Go where the love is. Go towards the love always. And then Saturday, the moon's still in Cancer, but now we don't have so many, well, actually we've got this challenge coming into, notice how the moon's at 21, and once it gets to 28, so the moon's going to be going this way, of course, but we're already in an opposition to Pluto. So this can be a battle inside to find our inner power. In Capricorn, Just think of all things that you want to be responsible for within yourself. So self-responsibility is actual freedom. Because once you get clear with the place inside, once you emotionally understand and you can feel deep inside of you that you're the one that has created just about everything in your life. Now, I'm not talking about every single little thing because, that's just crazy. But the things that bother you, once you figure out that you're the one that created them, in your life, in your personal life. I'm not talking about witnessing war. I'm not talking about witnessing corruption within, within politicians or anything like that, within governments, world leaders. I'm talking about your own personal life only. Once you get clear that you're the one that created that pattern's been within you, you incarnated with it from past lifetimes, and this lifetime you're still trying to heal it. Once you get clear with that, there is such a level of freedom because you realize if you created it, you can uncreate it, you can transform it, you can change it. And that's what Pluto's all about. And the moon in Cancer is very, very creative. Remember, it can be moody though. But this opposition here can create a breakthrough. And Capricorn, in its highest sense, is about being self-responsible, doing the hard work, and controlling yourself, controlling your own negative emotions. So if you're beating yourself up, or you're feeling like a failure, or you're feeling, like I'll just never get out of this shyness, if you're feeling really insecure, then just call in your guides, call in your guardian angels, call in all the forces of love in the universe, call in God, call in whatever divine entities you work with, and ask them to support you and help you find the truth. Always ask for the truth, because the truth will either set you free or it'll just make you happy, right? It's when we're in unhappiness, as a pattern of unhappiness, living in unhappiness, we're not in truth. We're in an old pattern that is trying to be transformed, is looking to be changed, and that's why it's there in our lives so that we can become aware of it. That's the only reason we're here on planet Earth, is to bring ourselves back to the love state that we are, the creative, protective, amazing love that we truly are. Yeah, everything else is, icing on the cake once you get that. So, okay, so there's that, but that can be a challenge. But we have this aspect of the architect here, this trine to the south node. So again, this is the time to get into the wisdom of the past, that deeply transformative, passionate, perceptive, very, very determined place of Scorpio. That's what Scorpio is about in the best. In the worst, we could be seeing some scandals here coming out on the news. But this aspect of the architect right here from the north, my goodness, again, get inside of what you really want and go for it. Go for it. Manifest it. And know that anything you manifested in the past that you don't like, you can transform. That's what that's all about there. And that's the space that Pluto's been holding here too for all of us as well, for this trine to the north node. And now with the moon, we do have a square, but it's a separating square. It was applying yesterday, and now by this morning, notice how the sun is at 19 degrees and the moon's already at 21. So the square is pretty weak, and it's going to get weaker throughout the day. This is really just a little bit of a challenge between your Aries assertive, nature, because we all have Aries somewhere in our chart, and we all have Mars in our, we all have all the planets within us, and imagine the ones that haven't even been discovered yet. But so knowing that we are stardust, we are creators, what do you want to create, And then it's okay, be in that tension field, and we can turn this challenge into a strength and move forward. And especially as the moon starts moving forward, when it gets to 26 degrees, it'll be in an exact square with Mercury here. So again, it's like, I feel like just sink more into this Aries energy that wants to get something done, and try to let go of the Cancer insecurity, right? Try to let go of the past. This could very well be speaking to an issue with our mothers or someone in our home who didn't encourage us, or maybe we were so darn busy taking care of them, or maybe we were distracted by them because their energy was just off all the time, or off so much. And that's what's up for healing and transforming. Because the moon, of course, and Cancer both rule the home and mother and, protection and our roots. Just think everything in the fourth house. And it can be very painful to be a very, a little one who's completely dependent on her parents, his or her parents, and then to not have your real needs met, to not be cared for, to not be encouraged and loved and safe. Because we're dealing with Cancer, it's all about safety, and so is Taurus. So much about safety. So that covers that square there. Notice we do have a grand water trine here. Look at that. Look at this to the moon, and this trine that's been there. Of course, but now the moon has come in and activated this grand trine. So again, I think that your positive intentions and your healing the emotional past is there, or healing the past, healing emotional reactions from the past is possible, always, every day, but there's a lot of energy here to help that happen. And then once that has happened, the moon becomes the place where you can channel your real feelings, channel your pure feelings. Emotions come from the past. Emotional reactions, I should say, come from the past, and they're steeped in history, in our history. But our pure, flowing, free feelings, that connects us to spirit. And that's what this Pisces, Scorpio, Cancer water trine is all about. And then there's a little bit of an adjustment here to Saturn, right? And I think that it could be something a little distracting on the news that maybe doesn't make us feel safe. There's that possibility. Yeah. So hopefully this works out to be a really beautiful weekend for you, where you can really tap into, and especially throughout the whole day on Saturday, and you can bring that energy of a more whole wholeness, being more whole within, into the weekend. And yeah, in that transformation, I really feel like there's a lot of transformation that can be coming through, and especially because of this moon opposite Pluto and the square. And this, we've got a T-square here. Now let's just see this little aspect here. 26 degrees here, squaring 28 degrees, and then squaring back to the moon as it gets to 26 degrees. We'll have an exact T-square with with Mercury at the apex. So Mercury at its best can help us communicate something with others or within ourselves It can have us become more curious and can help us link into like a pattern that needs to be healed from the past, that helps us transform our soul substance in a way that we're much, much more responsible for ourselves, where we take good care of ourselves. And the moon can help guide us through that. The moon in Cancer. As long as you can get into the place where you nurture yourself, where you get into some really good self-care. If you haven't, just in the past, if you haven't, this would be the day to really understand what that means for you. Don't push yourself too hard. Give yourself that time to take care of whatever you need physically. And then from there, you can always, you'll be stronger and you can always do more. But, self-care first. It's like, they always say, put the oxygen mask on first for yourself. And that's pretty much it. If you're a new mom, you learn the hard way that you have to take naps when your baby does, or you're not going to survive. Things like that. Oh, yeah. So self-care is everything. And with that, I will leave it there and send you lots of love, you guys. Bye.